guys? My name is Jake, and welcome back to Gax Reviews. Now, today we're going to be talking about the final season of the hit controversial show on Netflix, 13 Reasons Why. This is the fourth and final season, and this will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry if you haven't seen it yet or if you were going to check it out. If you have checked it out already, leave a comment in the comments, tell me what you thought about it, or if you haven't, tell me if you've watched the show in general, and if you got fallen off, and if you did, why that is. I did a trailer reaction to this a couple weeks ago. There'll be a link in the description also for you to check that out if you haven't watched that yet. I thought the trailer looked okay, and I thought that it was interesting in the direction they were going in, focusing primarily on Clay. And did that work? Let's find out right now. So 13 Reasons Why, the final season. Secrets are not always meant to be kept, and when Clay and the group have entered their senior year at Liberty High, they have to learn to confront their past and themselves in order to move on to the future. Okay, to preface this is a very tough review for me to make. I've tried making this multiple times so far, and I just feel like regardless of what I say, I'm going to annoy one side of the community. There's really two sides to this community of 13 Reasons Why. It's a side that really enjoy what they're doing, and a side that thinks it's really cheap, and that basically only watch the show to make fun of it. I don't know where I fall on the show. I feel like the first season to me was a very strong season that focused only on one topic with sprinkling in a little other social issues. And the suicide topic was handled very well. And I feel like since then, Netflix has felt like they've had to continue the show to be a platform, which I have no problem with. The problem I had with it was they were continuing with the same characters, and it felt like they were just purposely placing them in situations to create these societal needs and to raise awareness on these things, which I, again, have no problem with, but the way that they put that and the writing around that made the show feel very unbelievable. And to have the same group, the same teenagers consistently be put into these situations made the show feel very unbelievable. Now, to me, this is the best season since season one. It's the one that's felt the most focused. It's the one that is the most entertaining. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the episode lengths. It's only 10 episodes. They are long. They do usually go over an hour. But instead of 13, it allows for more depth and less meandering of the characters. Like I said, it's very entertaining. And I don't know if it's for the right reasons, because they do some crazy stuff in this show. And I haven't seen them go this length yet. I'll get into that a bit later, but like I said, it is the most entertaining, and I didn't hate myself watching it like I did with the third season. I really disliked that third season, and I think they fixed a lot of mistakes that they made in that. They didn't try to get you to sympathize with a horrible, horrible character like they did, and they once again fixed the issue of the main character, which was Ani to an extent in the last season, but now they have fully put Clay back in that forefront and explore his mental psyche a lot more. And they do a good job at showing anxiety and depression, and it feels like the most focused attempt of showing that. And as someone who suffers through anxiety and has dealt with a lot of anxiety in their life before, I feel like they did a very good job with it. However, again, my problem is the unbelievability that they do. I think Dylan Minnette does a brilliant job with Clay and has such an unbelievably hard job to try to portray all these emotions and his character consistently looking into the past and not into the future, which is causing him to consistently hallucinate about what he's done, what he feels like he's done wrong, and conjure up figments of his imagination, Monty and Bryce, and that's how they bring them back in this season. That's just haunting him. And while I understand what they were going for, it felt like at points that it just led to such ridiculous moments. And that little believability that they've had and that they've stretched so thin in season 2 and season 3 that they garnered very well in season 1 is completely stretched thin. Like, I can't even begin to describe how insane this season is. Characters like consistently are escaping every single consequence they have. They put their characters in the craziest situations I've ever seen a 16 and 17 and 18-year-old kids get into, and they get out of it just like that. Like, it blows my mind. Clay is so absolutely insane in this show that he does so many things that could land him in jail or a psych ward, and they just immediately write that off like 5, if not 10 minutes later, or the next episode. It blows my mind that every single episode progressively gets more and more insane, and characters just keep making extremely baffling decisions that it just causes them not to be likable, because the reason they're put into these situations is because the writing for the show obviously puts them in that situation, but looks for a reason to put them there. It looks for a reason to tell the societal issue that they're trying to tell by writing them in such insane ways to get there, and it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Episode 4 in this season, it's called Senior Camping Trip. It feels like a complete outlier in the entire show. It feels like almost a parody at times. And if you've seen Riverdale, which I've stopped watching because they do the exact same thing that they did here, they stretch the believability of it like crazy, and you just feel like, what am I watching? And that's exactly what it was. There was countless moments that they kept brushing past, or that just pulled you out. Episode 5, the end of episode 5, and they immediately just brush past it in episode 6. And I'm not spoiling what it is because it's a pivotal moment, or is it a pivotal moment if you've seen the show? And the next season or the next episode, they just go, whatever, that happened. And they do this the whole show. And I could go on and on about what Clay does in this show, and then how he just gets a little pat on the back the entire time, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm just, you can tell how I'm like both baffled and frustrated, but it was so like, my thing is, I liked what they had going for it too. And for the first couple episodes, I was like, okay, I like this. And then that thing hits and you go, oh no, they're doing that. So it just, the believabilities hurt the momentum that they had built. And I liked what they were doing with Clay. I liked what they were doing with some of these other characters, but these consistent moments that kept pulling me out, these unbelievable moments that just would not happen, pulled you out completely. And I just didn't care what I was watching in total. And it made me laugh more than I felt emotions for these shows, which shouldn't happen with such tough conversations and such tough topics, that I think is a very strong way to tell people and have a platform for that. But when you're writing your characters going on camping trips and you have Clay with a conch shell blowing in it and the parents not caring where he is, and he shows up after being missing, that's as far as I'm going to spoil for this show. And the two parents just go, whatever. That's my frustration. And I've had this throughout the entire series. And I've suspended my disbelief enough in season 2 when he was sawing Hannah, and it made sense. And then I was baffled with the decisions they made in season 3, and the believability wasn't fully there, but it just felt like they just went, it's the final season, we can do whatever we want for this. And it just made a very, very wonky final season. And while I enjoyed it, I mainly enjoyed it because I was laughing at it. And that's not what you want with the show, where you want to have a platform for these serious conversations. So like I said, I enjoyed what they did with Clay. I think what they did with Clay was very powerful. And then they kept putting all these decisions that made it feel like it didn't mean anything. Not to mention the editing is wonky throughout the whole thing. It's only 10 episodes, like I mentioned, but it feels a lot longer, even though it is more concise. Just the editing is just some of the strangest decisions I've seen them do in a show. And they have some, frankly, laughable moments with their editing. And it just, like I mentioned, it just had me questioning why. And why did this show feel like it had to happen? Why did not the show this season? Why did these past seasons need to happen? Why did season 2 need to happen? Why did season 3 need to happen? Why did we get 4 seasons of a show that was very powerful and hit me emotionally in the first, and made me, in season 2, not care about what was happening? In season 3, so bored out of my mind and mind blown that they tried to get us to sympathize with a rapist. And then in season 4, touch on another topic that hits me very close to heart and kind of laughs at it at points. And it's frustrating. I feel like it did kind of have a solid ending to these characters, and I enjoyed what they did with the finale. However, it cheapened a lot of that because of what they did throughout the show and the writing and how horrible the writing is at points, and the character decisions just making me annoyed by what they're doing throughout the whole show and me not really caring about them ultimately. And the ones that I do care about, I feel like the show just didn't do anything with them or did not justify their arcs that were built throughout the previous seasons. So yeah, as you could tell, I'm a little flustered by the show. I spent the weekend binging it. I've done this with the rest of the seasons. I'm very, very thankful this is the last season. However, there was talks of a spinoff, and if that's coming, I don't know if I can put myself through this again, because I kept talking myself going, it's such a powerful thing what they're doing to have that platform, but to consistently keep going and having these same characters make baffling decisions minutes and makes it less powerful with what they're doing. So in all, wrapping thoughts up on this, I think this season, while the best one, is the most unnecessary of them, and I can't go higher than a 40% for this one. Just way too many things bugged me with it. I'm very happy this show is done now, so I can stop every year worrying about watching it and getting frustrated while watching it. Like I said, these are just my thoughts, though. I know some people who have loved this season, some people who have absolutely hated it and destroyed it. And while I think it's the most entertaining, it's the most unbelievable, and it frustrated me more than season 3, which was a hard thing to do. That about wraps it up for 13 Reasons Why. So if you guys have seen this, like I mentioned, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about it. If you're going to keep on planning to watch it. And if you guys want me to do a spoiler review of this, I could. I feel like I have a lot to say on some of these decisions, and I can really pinpoint where I think the show messed up this season and how they were heading towards something special and then just completely pushed it downwards and basically went screw it. But yeah, that about wraps up for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, if you could subscribe if you haven't already and leave a like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching.